Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of English Learning Tips. I'm your host, David, and today we've got something really exciting for all of you who are just starting out on your journey to learn English. This episode is all about English learning hacks for beginners. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by grammar rules, confused by tricky vocabulary, or just unsure about where to even start, you're in the right place. Now, I'm not alone here. I've got my wonderful co-host, Sarah, joining me today. Sarah, welcome back to the show. How are you feeling about today's topic?
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Honestly, this is one of my favorite topics because I remember what it was like to be a beginner. You feel like you're standing at the foot of a huge mountain, wondering how you'll ever reach the top. But here's the thing, it's not as scary as it seems when you know the right hacks and strategies. And that's exactly what we're going to share today. David, I think we both agree that learning English, or any language for that matter, isn't just about textbooks and memorization. It's about making it fun, practical, and part of your daily life, right?
Absolutely, Sarah. And that's what makes today's episode so exciting. We'll be talking about things like how to start your learning journey with the right mindset, practical ways to build your vocabulary, and even how to practice speaking when you don't have anyone to talk to. Oh, and we've also got some great resources to recommend. Many of them are free, by the way. But before we dive into all of that, let me ask you this, Sarah. When you first started learning a new language, what was the hardest part for you?
Oh, where do I start? Laughs. For me, it was definitely the fear of making mistakes. I'd sit there, overthinking every word, worried that someone might laugh at me. And of course, I had no idea how to actually use the language in real life. But once I let go of that fear and started focusing on progress over perfection, things really started to change. I also found some great hacks along the way that made learning so much easier, and I can't wait to share those with our listeners today.
That's such a relatable struggle, Sarah. And I'm sure many of our listeners feel the same way. So, if you've been hesitant to start or worried about making mistakes, let this be your sign to keep going. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. All right, folks, here's what we've got lined up for you in today's episode. First, we'll start with the basics, how to set yourself up for success as a beginner. Then, we'll dive into some specific hacks for building your vocabulary, improving your listening and speaking skills, and even boosting your confidence. Plus, we've got some bonus tips and resources to share at the end, so be sure to stick around. Let's not waste another second. Sarah, are you ready to get started?
Absolutely, David. Let's do this.
All right, let's jump right in. Before we get into the actual hacks, let's take a step back and talk about what it really feels like to be a beginner. You know, that moment when you decide, okay, I'm going to learn English, but then you're suddenly hit with, wait, where do I even start? Sarah, I'm curious, what was your very first experience like when you started learning a new language?
Oh, David, I can still remember it so clearly. I was sitting in my very first French class, and the teacher was speaking entirely in French. I thought, this is it. I'm doomed. Laughs. I couldn't understand a word, and I felt completely out of my depth. I even thought to myself, why did I even think I could do this? But over time, I realized that feeling lost is just part of the process. It's normal. And the key is not to let it discourage you. You just have to take it one step at a time.
Exactly. I think a lot of beginners feel that way. It's like standing in front of a giant puzzle with 1,000 pieces scattered everywhere. It's hard to know where to begin. And I think what makes it worse is that many people set these huge, unrealistic goals, like, I'm going to be fluent in 6 months. But then they burn out because it feels impossible.
Yes. That's such a common mistake. I've seen so many people get frustrated because they expect results overnight. But learning a language is more like running a marathon than a sprint. You need to pace yourself and celebrate small victories along the way. Like, instead of focusing on fluency right away, maybe your first goal should be something simple, like learning how to introduce yourself or ordering food at a restaurant.
Exactly. Small wins build confidence. And speaking of confidence, I think another big challenge for beginners is the fear of making mistakes. People often feel embarrassed to try speaking in front of others, especially native speakers. Did you ever deal with that, Sarah?
Oh, absolutely. I used to be terrified of saying something wrong, especially because I thought people would laugh at me. But then I realized that making mistakes is actually a good thing. It's how you learn. And honestly, most people are kind and understanding. They appreciate the effort you're putting in.
That's so true. I always tell beginners, if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning. It's all about shifting your mindset. Instead of seeing mistakes as failures, see them as stepping stones to success. All right, so now that we've talked about the challenges, let's flip the script and start sharing some practical tips and hacks that can make the learning process smoother and more enjoyable. Ready to dive in, Sarah?
Absolutely. Let's start with the basics. How to set yourself up for success as a beginner.
All right, let's get into the heart of today's episode. We're talking about practical hacks to help beginners get started with learning English. Sarah, let's start with the basics. What's the first thing someone should do when they decide, I want to learn English?
Great question, David. The first thing, and this might sound simple, but it's so important, is setting clear, realistic goals. A lot of beginners say, I want to be fluent, but that's such a broad and overwhelming goal. Instead, break it down. Start with something like, I want to learn 20 new words this week, or I will practice speaking for 10 minutes every day. Having specific, manageable goals gives you a clear direction and helps you track your progress.
Absolutely. And another key is to build a routine around your goals. For example, set aside a specific time every day to study. It could be 15 minutes in the morning or 30 minutes after dinner. The important thing is consistency. What do you think, Sarah? Does consistency make a big difference?
100%. Language learning isn't about cramming for hours once a week. It's about small, consistent efforts over time. And here's a hack for staying consistent. Tie your study time to a habit you already have. For instance, if you drink coffee every morning, use that time to review vocabulary. Or if you commute, listen to an English podcast during your journey.
Such simple yet powerful tips. All right, once someone has their goals and routine set, the next big challenge is building vocabulary. Let's talk about that.
Vocabulary is the foundation of any language, and one of the best ways to build it is through context. For example, Instead of memorizing random words, learn them in sentences or stories. That way, you not only remember the word but also how to use it correctly.
That's a great point. Another hack is to use flashcards. Apps like Anki or Quizlet make it easy to review words on the go. And here's a bonus tip. When you create flashcards, include a picture or an example sentence. It makes the word more memorable.
Absolutely. And don't forget to review regularly. There's something called spaced repetition, where you review words at increasing intervals to help you remember them long term. Also, try to use new words in your daily life. Write a sentence with them or say them out loud during your practice sessions.
Speaking of practice, let's move on to listening and speaking, two skills that are often the hardest for beginners. What are some hacks for improving those?
Listening is such a crucial skill, and the best way to improve it is through exposure. Listen to English every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Start with something simple like children's stories or beginner podcasts, and don't worry if you don't understand everything. The goal is to get used to the sounds and rhythms of the language.
That's so true. And for speaking, my favorite hack is to practice self-talk. Just talk to yourself in English. Describe what you're doing, how you're feeling, or even narrate your day. It feels a bit strange at first, but it's an amazing way to get comfortable speaking.
Yes, and if you're ready to take it up a notch, try recording yourself. Listen back to identify areas where you can improve, like pronunciation or grammar. And if possible, find a language partner or join a conversation group online. Speaking with real people is one of the best ways to improve quickly.
That's such good advice. Now, let's talk about reading and writing. These are skills that often get overlooked, but they're just as important.
Reading is a fantastic way to improve your vocabulary and understanding of sentence structure, but you don't have to start with novels or newspapers. Begin with simple materials like children's books, comic strips, or even subtitles in your favorite TV shows.
Great point. And for writing, start small. Keep a daily journal where you write a few sentences about your day. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just focus on expressing your thoughts. Over time, you'll notice your grammar and vocabulary improving.
Exactly. And here's another tip. When you read something interesting, try to summarize it in your own words. This not only helps with writing, but also reinforces what you've learned.
Brilliant! We've covered so much already, but we've still got a lot more to share. Let's move on to tools and resources to make this journey even easier. All right, we've covered some really solid hacks so far. But now, let's talk about the tools and resources that can help you along the way. Because, let's face it, learning a language is a lot easier when you've got the right tools in your toolbox.
That's so true, David. There are so many fantastic apps, websites, and resources that are perfect for beginners, but the key is knowing which ones will actually help you the most. Let's start with the basics. Apps. One of the most popular ones is Duolingo. It's a great way to get started because it's free, fun, and gamified, so it keeps you motivated.
Absolutely. Duolingo is perfect for beginners, but it's also great for anyone who wants to get a quick, daily dose of practice. Another app I recommend is Duolingo. It's a little more structured and focuses on conversation skills, which is so important for real-world English use.
Speaking of conversation, I absolutely love the app English Speaking. It's a social networking app for language learners where you can chat with native speakers. And the best part is, you can send text, voice, and even video messages. It's a great way to get some speaking practice, especially if you don't have a language partner nearby.
That sounds awesome. I'll definitely be checking that out. Now, for those of you who prefer learning through listening, podcasts are a fantastic resource. Obviously, we recommend this podcast. But there are other great English learning podcasts too, like ESL Pod and The English We Speak. Listening to these regularly helps improve your listening skills and exposes you to different accents and vocabulary.
Podcasts are great for passive learning. You can listen while you're cooking, commuting, or exercising. And if you want to add a more interactive element to your learning, I recommend websites like English Class 101. They offer video and audio lessons, plus quizzes to test your knowledge.
Perfect for beginners who like variety. Now, let's not forget about YouTube. There's a whole world of English learning channels out there. One of my personal favorites is BBC Learning English. They have everything from grammar lessons to pronunciation tips, and it's all taught by native speakers.
Yes. And for something a bit more casual, try channels like English Addict with Mr. Duncan or Rachel's English. These channels offer a fun and engaging way to learn, and they cover topics like phrasal verbs, idioms, and pronunciation, stuff that can make a huge difference in sounding more natural.
Great suggestions, Sarah. And don't forget, if you're a beginner looking for more personalized feedback, websites like Italki or Preply are fantastic. You can find a tutor who suits your needs and schedule lessons to practice speaking one-on-one.
Yes, having a tutor can make a huge difference, especially if you need help with specific areas like grammar or speaking confidence. Plus, with so many online tutors available, you can choose someone who fits your learning style and budget.
Absolutely. And if you prefer reading, there are great resources like Grammarly for checking your writing and improving your grammar, and the Oxford English Dictionary app for looking up new words and their meanings.
These tools can really help you get into the habit of practicing every day. But remember, they're just tools. The key to success is using them consistently and actively engaging with the language.
Right on. And don't forget about the power of community. Join language learning groups on Facebook, Reddit, or even Instagram. Being part of a community helps keep you motivated and accountable. Plus, you can share tips, ask questions, and even practice with other learners.
I couldn't agree more, David. Learning a language can feel lonely at times, but connecting with others who are on the same journey makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Well said, Sarah. All right, let's wrap things up with some final tips and a little bit of motivation to keep you going on your English learning journey. Now, we've covered a lot of practical hacks and tools, but there's one last piece of the puzzle that is absolutely crucial for beginners: mindset and motivation. Sarah, what advice do you have for staying motivated when the going gets tough?
Oh, David, this is such an important part of the learning process. Motivation can be a bit of a roller coaster. Some days you'll feel on top of the world, and other days you'll feel frustrated and like giving up. But I think the most important thing is to remember why you started. Is it to improve your career, travel the world, or maybe just to feel more confident in conversations. Whatever your reason is, keep that in mind when things get tough.
Such a great point. When the journey feels long or hard, remembering your why can reignite that spark. I also believe that embracing the ups and downs of learning is key. No progress is linear, and the challenges you face now will make your eventual success even sweeter.
Exactly. And along with motivation, we need to talk about patience. Learning English, or any language, takes time. You won't see instant results, but every little bit counts. Don't get discouraged by the mistakes or slow progress. Celebrate the small wins, like understanding a phrase you didn't know before, or having a simple conversation in English.
Yes. Those small victories are what keep you going. Another thing I've learned is to treat learning as a journey, not a race. There's no need to rush to fluency. Just enjoy the process of learning and improving. The more you enjoy it, the easier it becomes.
Absolutely. And here's another tip. Surround yourself with positive influences. Whether it's people who support your learning, inspiring content, or motivational quotes, having that positivity around you can make a big difference. One of my favorite quotes is, "Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out."
That's such a powerful quote, and it's so true. Language learning isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up every day, putting in the effort, and believing in yourself. So if you're listening today, know this: you are capable of learning English, and every bit of effort you put in brings you closer to your goals.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to have setbacks or take breaks. The key is to stay consistent and keep going. Even when it feels like progress is slow, trust me, it's happening. One day you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come.
Well said, Sarah. And to anyone out there who's just starting, take it one step at a time, use the tips we've shared, and never lose sight of why you're doing this. You've got this.
Yes, you do. And we're here cheering you on every step of the way. Keep pushing forward and don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're part of the journey.
Thanks so much for joining us today, everyone. We hope you feel inspired and ready to tackle your English learning journey with confidence. Don't forget to check out all the tools and resources we mentioned. And remember, consistency and a positive mindset are your secret weapons.
Thanks for listening, and remember to keep practicing every day. Stay motivated, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, happy learning.
Take care and keep going strong.